Hello world! You're listening to Peak Performance Mentor. I'm your host Diego Natale, and today we're gonna learn about 6 tips to be superhuman with regards to efficiency. But first, if you haven't done so yet, please remember to click the subscribe button below so we can grow organically, and with your help we can reach more people that could benefit from the material presented here. Do not go anywhere, because what I'm about to tell you is going to make you superhuman. So without further ado, my points for today are: point number 1, the letter paper trick, or A4 paper trick. I learned this trick from one of my mentors. I personally have a very similar technique. However, the A4 paper or letter paper trick summarizes it very well. Let's assume that you wake up early and you have your operating system in place, and you have a preset start time to tackle your daily task. Let's say you start work at 0900 hours. As soon as you enter your office, studio, workstation, you are going to grab a piece of blank paper, I mean unused letter paper, and fold it twice in the middle. You are going to end up with the perfect pocket-size piece of paper where you're going to write only 3 things that you want to accomplish that day, and those will be your to-do things or task. You need to consider that the level of magnitude of those 3 tasks must be such that by accomplishing those 3 things, you will feel completely accomplished with your progress for the entire day. The question I asked to myself: what 3 things I want to do today that when completed, no matter if it took me 8 hours or 15 minutes, I can go home and not to do anything else for the rest of the day, that I will feel accomplished for my work. So write those 3 worth doing tasks that will make you feel like you won the day. Think about it. Just 3 things. What you're going to do next is you will start working and accomplishing 2 of those tasks during the morning and left the 3rd one for the afternoon. I'm going to say again, you're going to tackle those 2 tasks, 2 of those tasks, the first 2 during the morning, and left the 3rd one only for the afternoon. I've been using this technique for years with outstanding results. Point number 2, Pareto Law, also known as the 80-20 principle or rule. The Pareto principle states that for many outcomes, roughly 80% of the consequences come from 20% of the causes. Other names for this principle is the 80-20 rule. In economics, Pareto was an economist, Italian economist. Pareto's observation was in connection with the population and wealth. Pareto noticed that approximately 80% of Italy's land was owned by 20% of the population. He then carried out surveys on a variety of other countries and found, to his surprise, that the similar distribution applied, the 80-20. In computer science, for example, Microsoft noticed that fixing the top 20% of the most reported bugs, 80% of the related errors and crashes in a given system would be eliminated. It also was discovered that in general, the 80% of a piece of software can be written in 20% of the total time allocated. Conversely, the hardest 20% of the code, it takes 80% of the time to write. So you can see that the Pareto 80-20 is very useful and applied to many different things. There are hundreds of studies showing the 80-20 principle, and it could also be 90-10. But the 80-20 ratio, it is a good rule of thumb. So use this principle to understand what is the 20% of your task that you need to prioritize to achieve an 80% advance in your project. Or, to make an example, what is the 20% of your bills that are costing you 80% of your total expenses? This is a basic and very powerful tool. Use it. Remember, What it doesn't get measured cannot be controlled. That leads to my next point, which is Parkinson's Law. So, Parkinson's Law is the observation that work expands so as to feel all the time available or allocated for its completion. It is sometimes applied to growth of bureaucracy in an organization, but can be applied to all forms of work. There are a few remarkable derivative quotes that I personally like, and those are as follows. Number one, if you wait until the last minute, it only takes a minute to do. Number two, data expands to fill the space available for storage. Why am I telling you about the Parkinson's Law? Because by shortening your deadlines, you will accomplish the same amount of work in less time. The reason behind is because in order to accomplish the same task in less time, you will need to increase the remaining variables in the equations or change those remaining variables in the equation. You will need to increase your focus, concentrate only in the relevant, dismiss unnecessary breaks, irrelevant avenues to investigate phone calls, phone notifications, and other random noise or minutia. What I'm trying to show you by doing rational and reasonable time allocation analysis is that in theory, if you wait until the last minute, it only takes a minute to do. Some of my best work has been produced following this law. Silly example, just recently, I barely prepared for a rehearsal rehearse for a PowerPoint presentation the night before a morning brief to a military panel constituted with senior ranked military officers. My brief was about a highly sensitive topic in the military, information management. Personally, I love public speaking with PowerPoint, so I was confident in my skills since I have done it. I have done many presentations before during my military career, during my CV side. I've also took a series of courses, like one is the DLI, Decent Learners Instructor course, which also includes visual and graphic communication techniques that I always use and give me the advantage when I'm doing a presentation, if I care, obviously. After I finished my presentation, I was told publicly by one of the attending colonels that my presentation was the best PowerPoint presentation he had witnessed in his 27 years of military career. And that was one of the reasons that has motivated me to start Peak Performance Mentor. If you think about it, I have only invested 2 hours of my time in that presentation. And this example also relates with another concept, which is the minimum effective dose which I will dedicate a single episode. Parkinsons Law works on because when you are just lacking the time to check your phone, taking long breaks to think, going over all your COAs or course of actions, and analyzing in detail all the key and critical factors for your project, you may have wasted valuable time on unnecessary dead ends and most likely lost focus on what the main points you really need to be working on. So in order to be super efficient and productive, follow and apply my next point. Combine Pareto and Parkinson's Law. By using the Pareto Law or Pareto Law or principle, you will identify what is the 20% of your tasks that will produce the 80% of your desired output. I'm going to say it again. Using the Pareto Law, by using the Pareto Law, you will identify what is the 20% of your tasks that will produce the 80% of your desired outcome. Then, by using the Parkinson's Law, you will wisely and reasonably shorten the time allocation. That means you shorten your deadlines in order to accomplish the project without major distractions. Point number 5. This point is very important, and not too many people uses it. Pearsons Law. Pearsons Law states that when performance is measured, performance improves. When performance is measured and reported back, the rate of improvement accelerates. I'm going to say it again. When performance is measured, performance improves. When performance is measured and reported back, the rate of improvement accelerates. Pearson's Law is extremely beneficial. However, if you are lazy in nature, you will try to avoid it. Why? Because you need to put energy into measuring your progress. Whatever progress means to you according to your goals and cause. Lost weight, for example, or losing weight. You need to measure calories consumed per day. Report your body weight and body mass every Friday to your accountability partner, for example. Pearson's Law is a truthful metric tool about your numbers and an excellent tool to make you succeed. I will dedicate a single episode to this principle later on. Which leads me to point number 6, to be a superhuman. Learn to say no. It's very simple. Learn to say no. Learning to say no and making a no-to-do list had been one of the most important lessons learned from my previous mentors. You don't have to feel shame when you say no. It took me a while to learn this one. I heard someone say before, I don't know what the key to success is, but the key for failure is trying to please everybody. If you have something to do, it doesn't matter if you are self-employed, working from home. You don't have time to help your mom with laundry right now. If people don't respect the fact that you have time allocated in order to produce the desired result and fulfill your dreams, then you are the one to blame. You cannot be blaming anybody else. Nobody else but you. You could have a few lines ready to shoot when you say no, if that makes you feel better. At this point in my life, I just say no, and I don't give any explanation if I don't have to. I may come across like an asshole sometimes, but it is what it is. Or you should say something like, I'm sorry, but I'm working on a project with very time deadlines right now, and I need to allocate all my time into it. Period. Also, I may not have time right now, and it will be discussed later on. However, you should be aware that creating a not-to-do list is a very important topic. A not-to-do list is as important of more than creating a to-do list. And remember, we all need to create new good habits and get rid of the old habits in order to be 1% better every day. Summarizing my 6 tips to be a superhuman today are: number 1, the letter paper trick. Number 2, the Pareto Law or 80-20 principle. Number 3, Parkinsons Law. Number 4, combine Pareto and Parkinsons Law. Very powerful. Number 5, Pearsons Law. Number 6, learn to say no. This is all I have for you today. So please, if you find this podcast useful and you haven't done so yet, click that subscribe button below. You will help us tremendously to grow organically, rank higher in search engines, and reach more people that could benefit from the podcast. Now I'm going to leave you as I always do. Be grateful for all the positive little things you have, and you will unfold a life of gratitude. Be nicer to each other, and have a great day. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything.
I'm a